Well, Joe, in observance of today's Major League Baseball All-Star game, Reloaders also picked our All-Stars for this season. The ballots are in. I've counted them myself personally. And just the Reloader Chief been selected All-Star games. Congratulations, Reloader Chief. That's it. The only one person to the All-Star team.
I think there must be some miscalculations on that.
All-Star MVP been named, so congratulations, Reloader Chief. You deserve it.
I want to recount. That's all I know. Well, with that said, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. You're here with myself, Joe Pistolero, joined by
Bumbershoot, number one All-Star.
the runner-up
This
in the
season,
MVP balloting this year.
2023. But yeah, welcome everybody. Today we're going to go over our Reloader racing guide. And that's all the features you see on the screen as we're playing Reloader. The cylinders on the side, the ticker on the bottom, the clock on the top. We're just going to go over it to make sure people know what they're seeing when they watch the rounds. It really enhances the game, and you see us on the field, Joe. We're like little video game guys running around.
I think you've done a good job in putting the visuals together. But as you said, yeah, we just kind of like to go over things with us and seeing everything that's happening on the field as it goes.
Those things are there specifically so people can learn the game and they can follow the action. Explaining the game to people, it comes off more complicated than it is. It's really a fast-paced, easy game to follow, but these things are on the screen to help people pick it up quicker and get the hang of it.
Yeah, it is one of those things where you kind of have to see it in order to understand it more.
Yeah, and once you do see it, it's easy. It gives a little bit of a video game feel. It's like, you're an action hero out there. At times it's, the drone view from way up top, and at times it's like first-person shooter when we're shooting the target. So,
And in my opinion, even the map also adds a little bit of that video game feel, because even though you see yourself, like you said, from different angles or perspectives, you can also see where you are on the field in real time as it happens.
yeah, it's a little Grand Theft Auto-y, right? So we're going to talk about that as our main topic. First, as always, we're going to go through a breakdown of last week's round, which was round 2 on the grass. Corvulu's up 1-0 on you so far. So let's set the scene. What were you thinking? Switching sides of the field now, as we always do.
Correct.
So you're coming on the side where Corvulu just won. Are you thinking like, well, this guy must have an easier side, that's why he won, type of thing? Or you're like, I got to get even?
I was thinking that I was struggling the first round a little bit. I fell behind, wasn't able to catch up. I knew in round 2, I had to make something happen. Even though I wasn't up to par, was a little worried. I still had to give it a shot and try to make this even match.
Yeah, you weren't feeling the best, and I think we might have said this on the episode.
Yeah, we did touch on that.
But it's still early morning. I want to say between 9 and 10 a.m.
Right.
We're in Southern California. It's not foggy anymore as it was as we were setting up the field.
Yeah, when we first got there.
Yeah. Our muscles are warm now. I had a good first round. So this would be the first time I was up. You don't realize it until you get there, but it takes a lot of the pressure off.
No, it's a good feeling to have.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're playing a best out of 3 round match, winning round 1 is awesome. You definitely, confidence level goes up. You have a little different feeling mentally and strategically that you have options and it's not desperation time.
And one thing for me that I remember on that day was I did the sandbag already. And I like to do the sandbag, for the show. Mainly, I want to make sure somebody does it. I don't know if you have it in your plans to do it that day or not, but I wanted to make sure I did it. People see, the heavy sandbag in action. So now I don't feel so much pressure to do that on the second round. And if anybody's seen the episode, I actually don't do it this round. I go for a more efficient way of earning my ammo this time around. But let's get into it. So race zone, we're switch sides. Corvulu wins the first piece of ammo. How are you feeling? You've already said like you were not feeling the best. How are you feeling that race? Because I feel like in hindsight, you were actually even slower than the first round.
I was just frustrated. It took a lot out of me. I was hoping to win the sprint sled part of the round, but it was a lot of frustration when I didn't. I don't think I had a clear strategy on how to go about things. I was just hoping to get that first piece of ammo and hopefully have a easier route to taking out the targets as well.
I've noticed, you touched on not having a strategy. I've noticed the ones where I go into it not thinking about it ahead of time, having a plan and a backup plan,
Right.
I tend to do worse in, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see as time goes on, but it is better just to have options out there on what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. We both head to the cache first. That goes back to there being only 3 targets and each piece of ammo being worth more, of course.
Right.
But we both head for the cache. 838, you deliver your cache, but I take a different route. While you're delivering your ammo, I have my cache in hand and I head straight to the jerry cans this time. And this is something I tried to do. I don't recall if it was, I think it was that desert experience where we didn't end up filming anything.
Okay.
I tried to do this and I kept dropping it. I didn't have it right. So, I mean, it's not something I practice, but I remember
Right.
telling myself heading to the jerry cans, like, if I can't hold it,
Right.
I'm going to put it in my mouth or something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's about your only other option. You know, I'm thinking. I mean, you can balance it on your
Yeah.
head. You can tuck it under your arm.
You cannot balance it on their head. Maybe
no, yeah,
under your
man,
arm.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was able to keep holding it in my hand and able to grip the handles of the jerry cans.
Although true, that's something we had never discussed. That's not something that is, or I believe, should be against any rules at any point in time. If you're
Yeah.
able to accomplish multiple reloads at once, then more power to you. You know, that's a different strategy or way to go about things. You know, we're in that testing phase to see if you can, but if you can, by all means.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here, midway through our round review. But yeah, if anything's not mentioned in Reloader, it's not necessarily against the rules, unless it's specifically against the rules.
Right.
In the same
Stated.
in the same way we were talking about, cheating last week. There's gonna be one referee on the field, and I pressure Joe. Hey, Joe, don't cheat, because there's no referee right now. I can't count your bullets, dude. So please don't.
I cannot comment pro or nay against either way.
But having said that, we have one referee on the field. He's going to be in charge of distributing the ammo. Anything aside from that, there's not really a rule against it. If you're trying to be sneaky in a survival type situation, then that's you. It's more like we leave it open for interpretation. This testing period is specifically to find what these loopholes are.
Right.
Like Joe said, we don't have a rule against delivering 2 reloads at once, and we probably will never make one, honestly. So if you can ever figure out a way to do that, maybe here, good example. There's no rule against taking that wheelbarrow and using it
Right.
to pick up everything at once.
That's very true. It just hasn't been done
It
yet.
hasn't been done yet, and it probably is not the best strategy in terms of quickness. But if you're someone that's maybe not as strong to carry these things and the wheelbarrow can help you, go for it.
Oh yeah, by all means.
Yeah, we don't say you can't. So, stuff is open for interpretation. It's part of the fun and part of the strategy and part of the, being creative part of the game in survival type scenarios. Anyways, that's my little tangent. So, Corvulu picks up the jerry cans at 8:32. 8:25, you pick up the jerry cans. So you're kind of a little bit behind me because you went for the cash first. And
Correct.
I
Yeah.
combined
You
them.
just did the two. Yeah, you did the 2 in 1.
Yeah. So I pick up my 2 pieces of ammo at 8:14. And you pick up your 2 pieces of ammo. Sorry. I pick up 3 pieces of ammo at 8:14. And at 8:09, you pick up your 2 for the jerry cans. So the decision, to pick up the cash proved effective. So I went from being behind because you delivered that cash first to being
Right.
5 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and in the turnaround of your choice.
Yeah. If you look at the map of the field, I went, straight line up instead of having to go to the right
And then go
and
back.
then go back
yeah.
out. Yeah, so I saved myself time. When we both drop off the jerry cans, we decide to head to the nether ender. I'm a little more catching my breath, but you see this as an opportunity to catch up maybe. So at 8:02, we kind of cross the nether ender at the same time, but you run past me and you get to the rescue dummy first. And in this match, we had the rescue dummies next to the wheelbarrow instead of the wheelbarrow up front in the
Right.
nether ender zone. Didn't really make a difference. We just wanted to be a little different. So you go past me, you're at the rescue dummy first. Again, to recap at this point, I have 4 pieces of ammo, you have 3.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of unlocking our weapon. 758, very important. A hawk lands in the nether on the right side of the screen. So if you go look at that clip, a hawk is landing on the field, is like watching us. Now I think, in my expertise on the subject, this hawk is undoubtedly here to support Corvulu. You know, being a bird demon.
But of course.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
There were, true or false, there were a lot of crows in the trees that day. They're all here for support. Appreciate it.
Summon the power of the wilderness.
Shout outs to crows. Shout
All
out to the
crows out
murder
there.
to the murderer on the field. Shout outs. And you know, hawks are predators, but I would not put it past this hawk to be there to pick on the carcass of your dead body after I put you to rest here. Just a thought.
Somebody's got jokes today.
So at 7:48, we're in the nether ender. We're picking up our dummies to wheel their asses out, to pick up our gun. You're showing fatigue, and I don't know if you remember this. You pick it up and then you drop it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, not to beat a dead horse. It's just, it shows where I was at physically in that point in time. I just didn't have it.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Again, that dummy is 110 pounds, and it's not evenly displaced. It's mostly in the legs.
It's a tough lift.
Yeah.
Due to the proportion of the body and the way the weight's distributed.
Yeah, and if you try to pick it up from the upper body, that lower body's going to catch up with you real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you drop them. You can see, you kind of sigh. And meanwhile, I'm wheeling my guy out. So I get out of the nether ender first, even though you got in before I did.
Right.
And I lock my gun at 7:17. At 7:04, 13 seconds later, you unlock your gun. So you get it together and you're right behind me.
Yeah, not too far.
Not too far. At 6:40, you start doing your memory challenge. At 6:16, I complete my memory challenge. And so when we were going through this video and I saw that, I'm like, that has to change.
Right.
Doing the memory boxes this early in the round, I don't like it. Because now we're talking about 2.5 minutes, really, maybe 3 minutes since we saw the card.
Right.
And it's still kind of fresh in our memory. Yes, we've done some reloads. Yes, we're a little bit tired. It's still too fresh in the memory. So going forward from here, memory boxes are only to be done after we shoot all the targets.
Right.
So it's a big difference. It's a welcome difference to me, and I hope it creates more confusion on the field for the athletes.
Well, I mean, that is the purpose, to test yourself both mentally and physically.
Yeah. We're not here just to see if we can make things easier. We're here to make things harder.
Right.
Again, reiterating the fact that we're looking for elite athletes to play this. Like, if we can do it, that means it's easy for people that are
Of course, yeah.
So if we can do it, that means I'm looking for ways to make it harder, honestly. At 6:10, you're taking the first shot, your first shot, which, highlights, again, using the loading part as a time to catch my breath, probably.
Yeah, possibly.
But in any case, you're quicker on getting your gun out and getting the bullets out. So 6:03, I still haven't taken a single shot. You shot your third shot, but you only hit one target.
Yeah.
That's your cue to get more reloads. At 5:59, my weapon's not firing at all. I have to replace the tube. So I remember this, actually. The tube that I had put my ammo in was bent, so they wouldn't fall into the gun because it was like cracked right there. So I had to replace the tube and come back and start shooting. You're doing the dummy reload. You decide to pick it up and carry it instead of drag it.
Well, I mean, to me, picking it up has always been the easiest way to go about it. The dragging, in my opinion, you burn out your legs. That's just me.
Yeah, it is more tiring on the hamstrings for sure by dragging it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I'm sacrificing short term for long term.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, 5:34, you deliver the dummy, pick up your 2 more pieces of ammo, and at this point you have 2 targets to still shoot. I'm taking my first shot. 5:22, I'm done shooting. 3 for 3. Beautiful. It's like butter out there. That's about the time you're coming back to the line to load your gun.
Yeah.
You actually might be in the process of loading at that point.
Right.
But by then, I think before you even have your gun loaded, I'm back in the nether ender zone with the wheelbarrow, delivering the ammo boxes. 5:07, I end the round. And when I hit the gong, you're claiming that your gun doesn't work. You remember that?
Oh, I remember. I don't forget. It didn't. I can't recall for certain, but it either jammed or it just wasn't.
It was fine. I checked
Yeah,
it
nah,
afterwards.
nah.
At the end of
I
the
mean, at that
round,
point, it was too late
I'm
anyway.
testing the gun. You could see it's fine. So post race thoughts, Joe. Corvulu wins this grass match 2 rounds to nothing. We decided to call it after that out there that day.
Yeah.
We've the best 2 out of 3 matches finished, but you weren't feeling well, and honestly, it was the best decision to just get out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
We still had a van to load and return.
yeah, which is always a lot of work, and I know we both know. I mean, I was just spent even after those first 2 rounds. Had a nice little coughing spell before we even load anything into the van.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Corvulu definitely came at the right time. He took advantage, summoned all the powers of nature, and put me to rest, basically.
So post race thoughts. Any changes you would have made to your strategy?
My strategy was simple. I try to go about it a certain way each race, but it was really more just hoping for the best. I can say honestly, I didn't have the most confidence going into that day, but I just had to give it a good shot and hopefully try to steal a round or two. Didn't work out, but probably still would have done it the same, cheating and all, every single time.
Well, for me, it being 3 targets, I feel like I had the optimal strategy for 3 targets. Yeah, I won the race zone, and that was a good bonus. And winning the race zone gave me options to think like, well, if I pick up just 3 more ammo, and I picked up the 3 more ammo in probably the easiest way you could.
Right. No,
Delivering.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, the water jugs, they're heavy. Don't get me wrong, but
No, that was
compared
a
to
good
lifting other
strategy.
crap, it's the lightest thing.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to carry the cash with it at the same time, which the other ones would be a little bit more difficult to do. I mean, maybe you can throw it on top of the sandbag and carry it if you want, but you might drop it.
Right.
So
That's a little tricky.
yeah, so in terms of strategy with 3 targets, I feel like I had optimized the level strategy for this. So I'm
yeah.
glad that 3 targets are done and 4 targets are coming, and things are gonna. We have to modify how we approach things.
Yeah.
But that's it for our round review. Next week on the Reloader Sport episode, we'll be reviewing the 2 rounds and with new keys to victory. So we'll cover that in next week's podcast episode. I forgot why I even mentioned that. What point was I trying to make?
I don't know.
Me either.
You didn't share that with me.
Yeah, but that's what we're doing. So that's what it's done.
That's what it is.
Moving on with our lives. Reloader news and developments. So our grass match is in the books. The next thing coming up on our channel, I'm calling it our Trial by Fire exhibition match.
I'm looking forward to that.
We did 2 rounds only. We switched sides after 1 round. We had a modified course out there, 4 targets, and we were seeing what it felt like. And we have some stories about that. So
yeah.
we won't get into it until those episodes are released. We're going back to desert again, but this was a little bit
It's more
different
dirt.
terrain.
Yeah,
it was more
it wasn't
dirt.
the same as the very first
Yeah.
match.
And then after that, we're doing a 5-target time trial. So for that time trial, Joe, we're going to keep it simple. Test the number of reloads that we would have to do in relation to 5 targets being on the field. And if 9 minutes in time would be enough time to do that. And how would a player feel after 3 rounds of doing that? So it's not so much going to be a full game that we're playing.
Just testing how the game would play out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And testing our fatigue in relation to it. And, we're in decent shape.
By the time we do it, I'm gonna be in good shape.
Okay.
That's the goal. That's my goal.
Okay,
We'll see.
no,
But
No.
that's the goal.
fuck that. Beat me. I'm beating him on this one. So those are episodes coming up for the summer, and we're very adamant about having new content every week on Fridays. Subscribe to us, click your notifications, because every Friday we're putting out new content, as well as a new podcast every Tuesday. We're not
Correct.
skipping that. Aside from that, channel highlights, I've made changes to the shorts compilations, and I've updated our schedule, so check our, what is it called, info page on YouTube, our homepage?
Our homepage.
Our homepage on YouTube, it'll have the details for that. On to our main topic, the Reloader Racing Guide.
As you can see, we have a different number of icons or map guides to help you along as we race. We have our map in the middle, which shows both the blue and red contestant on their respective sides, where they are through the race as it progresses.
Yeah, and the map doesn't just show us move around, it shows a few different things. You'll see the reloads on the field in black, and they move along with us. So if the reloads are moving on the field, they will also move with our icon. And the icons are very self explanatory, red for the red side, blue for the blue side.
So, for instance, if blue picks up a water jug and then takes it to the center, we're going to see that move to the middle.
And this way, if you get towards the end of the round, you could look back on the map and see, well, what other reloads haven't they done yet? What can they still do to get bullets? You'll also see the ammo boxes on there, just displayed as one ammo box. And if they deliver the ammo boxes, that box will jump onto the wheelbarrow and move with the wheelbarrow. The targets also, when they get shot on the map, they disappear. So if they're shot, they disappear, and you can see how many targets are remaining for that side of the field.
As you see those blue and red icons move and finish their reloads, you can also see the 6-bullet chamber on the corner of each side, or how many bullets they were able to get by accomplishing that reload. You'll see them fill up in the chamber, and you also see the chamber move as they get loaded in.
Yeah, so the cylinder on the margins, there's one for red, one for blue. Like you said, it'll cock to the left whenever you get a reload, and it'll fill with either 1, 2, or in this last race I did 3.
3, yeah.
So it'll cock with however many bullets they earned from that reload, and then when it fires, it shoots to the right, and you can see one less bullet every time they shoot.
Yeah, as it's dispensed.
But also the circle around the cylinder kind of is like a timeline for the game, because you have to do things in certain order in the game. And the first thing you need to do is unlock your weapon. When it's locked, it's in a cage.
Right.
When it's unlocked, the cage disappears. So you can see when your weapon is unlocked. At the bottom of that circle, you'll also see the targets. And when a target gets hit, an X will go through them, so you can see how many targets are left they need to shoot. And then on the left side of the circle, you see when the mace is locked versus being unlocked. So when they deliver the ammo boxes to the boss, that mace will get unlocked. And then at the top of the circle is the boss target. When he gets smashed by that mace ball, he gets X'd out too. And so when that happens, the game is over.
Yeah, another thing I feel personally, which is really cool, as you're watching, you not only see what's going on, but there are also sound effects that complement each thing as they happen. Like one thing I know off the bat is, when you fire your weapon, you hear like sounds like one of those old Western kind of shots. And to me, yeah, that helps you follow along, and it makes it a little more entertaining as well.
I prefer those sound effects versus leaving the actual gun sounds in there, because the actual gun sounds okay, but you're not going to know the difference between hit and miss. And if you heard the real audio, it'd probably just be a lot of us breathing heavy, honestly.
I don't think anybody's trying to tune in for that.
No, it would come off. Make people feel uncomfortable.
You might think this is a whole different channel.
So yeah, the cylinder has its own sound effects. There's also sound effects when the gun and the mace get unlocked. There's also the ticker, Joe. It gives little updates on the status of play. Things like when people earn ammo. So you don't just rely on the map and the cylinder. There's also context, and words.
Well, yeah, you see how long so far each round has been taking us. What the match consists of time-wise.
And the tickers there also, for reference on the weight of the reloads, how many reloads are left on the field, the distance that we're moving. So it gives you more of an insight to the type of workout we're doing too.
Yeah, you have a better idea of what's really going on. You just don't see jerry cans being picked up, a black supply bag, not knowing what it consists of.
Yeah, if you're just seeing the bag or the jerry cans, you don't know what they weigh, you don't know how far we're going, and the ticker is there just for that reason.
Yeah, so you kind of see how long it takes to do these, and you can realize that, yeah, these aren't easy reloads to do.
It's also a compliment to the cylinders. When things get unlocked, it tends to mention it there, or when reloads get picked up, it tends to mention it there. But I also like to put context for previous rounds in there. So you'll see in this last episode, we talk about Joe going 2 for 5 shooting his last round before he starts taking his shots.
Right.
So you can get an idea of where he is in his head, and how he's done historically. Things like the race zone winner winning every single race, knowing
Right.
that going into this next race, how will that play into the field? So it helps with like storytelling in a way too.
Well, yeah, and for those who watch and you're getting used to the sport and kind of following along, yeah, when you watch, you can have an idea of where the contestants are at. You know, who might have the advantage at one moment, and then you see how things progress, as we talked about earlier in our podcast today. Strategies, how they come into play. You know, we may see somebody win the race, but maybe somebody has this brand new scheme on how to do the reloads, and they make up for the time that they lost. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to watch.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head where it gives an idea of where the players are at. And in the same way, that clock on top does the same thing because it also has the rounds that we've won, like the
Yeah.
score of round to round.
Yeah, the round winners on each side.
That's our Street Fighter round win right there. That's what that is.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. It does make it easier to see who's in the lead per match or where the match stands.
Yeah, and our clock ticks down from 9 minutes. We haven't got close to that yet, Joe, but as we're adding more targets, and it'll be very interesting when we do the time trial.
Yeah, so far nobody's hit that 0 hour yet.
Yeah, blue is always on the right side, red is always on the left side. And if you haven't noticed by now, those are two different camera angles on each side of the field. That barbed wire down the middle separates our camera view. Sometimes, like drone views or nether ender angle views, we do share the same camera,
Right.
but we are on our side of the field in the camera. And a lot of times I'll have to reverse the view to maintain that red is always on the left side of your screen, blue is always on the right side of your screen. So yeah, just as important as all the features on the screen, make sure you know that those are two different cameras on the left and right side of the field. Even if you don't see Joe Pistoletto on the right side of the field, you know that's his camera.
He's on the right side of the
Yeah.
field.
In terms of cameras, since we're on the topic, we have a few out there. We have 8 cameras. You're wearing a GoPro.
Right.
I'm wearing a GoPro. There's
9?
also a third GoPro facing the middle of the reloader zone to catch us dropping off the reloads. That's actually the GoPro that's reserved for referees. So when we have a referee in the future, they're going to
That'll
be wearing that on
strapped
their
to
chest.
their chest. Yeah.
We have 2 DSLR cameras. One in the nether ender zone that kind of is like
An end zone.
yeah, it's like your end zone. When we finish hitting the gong, that's that camera. I also put one facing the sled sprint, of course. So that's 5. There's the drone in the sky, 6. And then we have 2 cameras that are supposed to follow all our action, but they usually don't work. So if you ever see a moving camera, but usually they don't freaking move anywhere. So but those are our sideline cameras catching just extra stuff on the sideline. So we have quite a few cameras out there, and the information is spliced so that blue is always on the right, red is always on the left.
And that way you all have the ultimate viewing experience to watch this sport.
And if you have any feedback to any of this, we love to hear it. I dove in head first at the red and blue theme, but I wanted it to look like a video game. I wanted it to feel like a action movie.
I mean, at the same time as this is a competitive sport, you want to have fun.
Yeah,
when you're doing it.
have
Give it
fun.
a fun feel to it. Not just because when you're on the field, it's intense. You're competing. You're out there. You want to win. It can be pretty intense, but as viewers, you want to see the competition, but you also want to have a fun feel to it. We're not trying to bore you to death. We're not trying to make you think this is the end of the world. We're just competing as if it was.
Yeah, the design of the screen does not reflect how hard this shit is.
By no means.
Yeah, because we're putting our body through some. Because you and I are loading and unloading and resetting everything, we're killing ourselves out there, dude.
I mean, yeah, a little bit of a spoiler, but moving forward, this last match that we had was definitely a testament to pushing your body to the edge.
What he's saying nicely is I'm a freaking idiot, is what he's saying nicely.
You guys will figure that out later on. I mean, I already come to that conclusion because we've ran a few matches, ran a few races. I already know that, but for the viewers out there, you'll see.
I'm a crazy person, is what he's saying. I hope that clears up any questions anybody has about the icons you see on the screen. We could have just filmed our competitions with regular cameras and done full screen, but I said screw that. I want the feel of being in a game.
Yeah, it definitely gives you more of a first-person feel to it.
Oh, one last thing, Joe, about the racing guide is, of course, it's subject to change. When the map of the field is different, the map might change, of course.
Of course.
We're adding targets, like we said, so the cylinder is going to change. There'll be more targets on the bottom. The type of weapon may change, so the cylinder
Right.
may change in that sense. But the general theme of it is like that's where you can look to see the status of the game. The map is where you can look to see our location, and the tickler is where you can look to see more information on context.
And the ticker.
That's what I said. But yeah, the clock is a scoreboard. This being the best 2 out of 3 rounds, that's where you're gonna see your rounds. You play Street Fighter, I want to know how many rounds I got. No.
That's right.
As this sport grows and we enter the tournament phase and we start doing tournaments, possibly that will get added somewhere on the racing guide as well, so you know what round we're in and how that relates to the tournament as a whole.
Right.
Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Well,
Or wrap that gavel up, B.
thank you for tuning in. Once again, it's myself, Joe Pistolero, the Authority of Attack.
This is Christopher Bumbershoot. Once again, All-Star 2023 of Reloader. Thank you so much
Check the ballots.
for the votes at home. I should put a poll up and just vote, like one vote for myself and then close the poll. Like a dick.
It might work.
But thank you for all for listening.
Thank you all for listening. We look forward to you tuning in again next week.
See you next week. Thank you.